It's finally Friday, and on Just to Eat, that means we're hoping.
It's Friday. Take out your coat.
We'll tell you why this one is dancing, but let me take that from the top. Let me take it from the top. It's finally Friday on Just to Eat. That means we're helping you start the weekend with vibes and great conversation with Hot Topic Special Friday. Now, another chapter, oh my God, has been added to the Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan saga with a move by the federal government, and it's a big one. We also took to the streets to ask Nigerians what they thought of the bill to impose mandatory voting in the country. And we also have an update on the viral domestic abuse video. And we get into the call by Senator Peter Nwaboyin for the relocation or maybe demolition of villages around the Abuja airports. Because hear this, he doesn't like seeing them when he's landing in Abuja. Yeah. There's a lot packed into the 1 hour we have. So let's get the show on the road. But first,
a video of young girls allegedly involved in what looks like a cult initiation. The video has sparked a lot of discussion online. I'm terrified because when TAB does this, she's going to shock us. Yes. Let's go. An investigative report by The Punch into the rising cases of children joining cults went deep into the issue. There was a 16-year-old who has been arrested 12 times in 2024 alone. He spent 11 days behind bars. Cultism, once predominantly associated with tertiary institutions in Nigeria, has alarmingly permeated secondary schools, particularly in the Niger Delta region. This has led to the emergence of various cult groups within those schools, contributing to the increased violence and criminal activities amongst the youth. According to an online platform that publishes research on cult violence and other social issues, there are over 23 cult groups that has found their ways into secondary schools. Let's take a look at some of the reactions that we got from this particular video.
Oh my God. I wish our young ones would dedicate same energy to good habits and skill acquisition. Let me tell you why. It's increasingly hard to survive out here without good habits and soft skills. You think you've got all the time in the world. But God Day says parenting is very, very important. Just imagine all these teenagers who are still under their parents, whom many came from a poor background. They all choose a miserable lifestyle instead of having a visionary lifestyle. With the hashtag rejects cultism. Moderate says, I saw my little sister's video on TikTok one day with her schoolmates doing this and calling it challenge. Not be small thing she see from my hand that day, Sha. MZA says, not me scanning the video to see if I will cite any of my sisters there. Not even God would have saved her from what I would have done to her. James Anderson says, at Niger Confra, good morning from Nigeria time, happy Sunday. So, it has gotten to this. Our young girls are now creating their own confraternity, like play. It will turn to something else nobody can hold back again. Parents, hold your children. What is all this? And Crypto says, please, this school must be found. These children can't all die in the name of cultism. We've faced enough casualties already. Jeannie's Jean says, these are secondary school kids who are most likely just playing. Because of your phobia for cultism, you are projecting. Instead of sharing the video with your large audience, why not find the origin of the video and advise them? These are kids, for crying out loud.
What's this?
Really, Jeannie's Jeans.
Wow. So that Punch investigative report that was referenced actually came out in February of this year, and it says rise of child cultists is turning schools into battlefields. And that young boy that was referenced, he, at 16 years old, had been arrested 12 times in 2024 at 16 for beating people, for being part of all these things, and that he had spent 11 days behind bars. He apparently lost his father when he was 4, then his mom remarried, but in and out of school violence and issues, also neighborhood. There is a lot going on with Nigeria's young people. And the guy that says we're blowing this out of proportion and they're playing, he's from play that enters what?
Yes, not from clap with the take enter dance.
What are we saying? The amount of violence that we have seen on the streets is enough for anyone to be afraid. Remember there was a time that cultism was reigning in Ikorodu?
And then all these 1 million gangs,
and that one that they said they were bludgeoning people with, you know, some kind of stick or baseball bat. Now you're seeing cultism. It's so bad in secondary schools now that you be like, you see young children from secondary school terrified. I've actually seen a boy that I just talked to for a while. Just said that in their school that there are cults. If you don't give them money, they will initiate you. They will do this. They would kill your parents. I'm like, you know, things that when you felt this happen in tertiary institutions.
Yes.
But now,
No, it's trickling down.
secondary school children, even this terrible thing they do after their exams, like this WAEC, you see them maybe signing off on a white t-shirt. Some of them get doused in water. Some get beaten. You know, some get their clothes torn. I'm like, what are we doing? They'll say this is play now until this becomes something sinister. A lot of times, Tolu can talk about American hazing, where some of these playful acts are turned into something really grievous. That someone has died.
There's a recent case, I think about 4 lacrosse players in one state, I think somewhere upstate in the U.S. They're being charged as adults for hazing. Because hazing has been outlawed. Too many young people have lost their lives to hazing. And what you say is play. What you say is just rough play. Is boys will be boys or kids will be kids. It's leading to loss of life. And we were shouting when it was tertiary institutions. I remember in the 90s before we came back, we were always hearing about cult clashes and cult activities. And I think it's one of the things that led to the upsurge of private universities. People were looking for safe places for their children to learn. So it's gone from there now into secondary schools. Initiation, violence, activity, and at the end of the day right now, I'm worried about this generation of young Nigerians. I don't know if you guys saw it, earlier this week, Small Doctor put out a post about the drug abuse epidemic, that he went to his neighborhood and he was distraught to see so many promising young people that he grew up with just caught up in drugs. You talk about one guy saying the guy was just standing and sleeping. You know how I've seen them. I saw the one that Corridor saw, and I had to start explaining to her drug abuse and drug use and how it can ruin your life and how it can derail. And you want to be an astronaut, so if you start taking drugs, you can't. I'm like literally trying to scare her straight.
Yes. You have to. I know we're not talking more. We need to, honestly, it's like a state of emergency.
It is.
As far as
for young Nigerians.
For young Nigerians and drug use. It has become, you know, when somebody tells me, I'll be like, in this neighborhood I live, are you serious? The access to drugs, there are a lot of them that have turned themselves into chemical students. That they mix and match all sorts of things. Do you know the amount of problem they are having in America with this fentanyl mixing with drug, opioid crisis? It is killing. It is deadly. And many of these children have turned themselves into chemists. They mix also. What I saw on social media just yesterday, one guy was mixing some drink for a party. He had stout in it. He had.
Let's not talk about what he had in it.
Oh God, he had all sorts of things.
And I think one thing we are very good at doing as a society, because we can be bloody hypocrites, is we are ostriches. We put our heads in the sand. I don't know how Nigerians feel like when you don't confront something, somehow it'll just disappear. It'll just dissipate. It will just, you don't have to deal with it because you're not confronting it.
We're doing a lot.
Our children are now the ones who are the consequences of our failures to deal with several issues. They're now what's coming down on the children. The sins of the fathers are being visited on the children. The sins of our society, our lack of consequence for certain things, our lack of taking things seriously is being visited on this young generation. They busted a fentanyl, the one guy doing fentanyl, be mixing whatever. There's another one, the one that's very poisonous. Was it not in Lekki last year or 2 years? Do you know how many mini factories are in this country?
I hear.
And that thing is not cheap.
Because otherwise, where will they collect? Where will they see it? Where will they see it?
And I just pray that parents need to be more. They need to watch their children a little more.
Law. How?
I think
have you seen minimum wage? How many parents are making minimum wage? even in two parent households, if you're not intentional about raising your child, children are slipping through the cracks. It is not because parents want them to slip through the cracks.
Look at it now,
so
even on the roads. Have you noticed that?
Do you get
the incidence of boy children on the roads now is increasing? I mean, all these Sunday boys that you see on the sides of the road, they are increasing by the day. That means yesterday, as I was going home, I was in the taxi, like 4 of them surrounded the car. I wanted to eat chin-chin. I had to break one of the chin-chin into 2 and hand one of them, because if you give them money, this 11-year-old to about 14, you will see them smoking all sorts of things beside the road. And I'm wondering, what is government doing? Every time they'll keep saying, oh, they're taking these children off the road, off the streets, and you still see them. So where are the children they're taking off the street?
It's not even the boy children alone, because the girl children also will find an escape for them. Maybe the girl children won't come on the streets to stand and be that, terrorizing, but they will take to other things like prostitution, drink alcohol, just a way of escapism, even lesbianism, even just to escape. So I don't know where the pressure is from. We can look at this video and say, okay, probably it's a challenge on one of the social media platforms, but it's from club.
Are you sure this is a Nigerian school and not a South African school?
So aside from that, I also want us to make the point that this is not necessarily an issue, whether it's for the cultism activity, probably more of an issue of public schools and environment. For the drug activity, it knows no socioeconomic bounds. It knows no socioeconomic boundaries. It knows no socioeconomic situation. Children of the rich, the high and mighty, middle class, and all the way to the lowest classes in our society are getting involved in drugs. That one is not by how much your papa makes.
In fact, the more your papa makes, the more elevated the kind of
that you have.
You have there's, in fact, when you take hailing cabs these days, some of them give you stories that are mind-boggling. I'm not even joking. I had a chatty one some time ago, and he was talking about this client he has somewhere around Lekki. He said the girl that he can bet his life on it that she's not up to 20, that he's a regular customer. He calls him. He takes the hailing cab all day. Says she will go from place to place. When by the time she comes back, the things she's doing at the back of the car. I'm like, some of these things should be things that they can report to some kind of authorities. Doing drugs at the back of the cab. In fact, he says he takes even guys and tells him to step out.
Yeah, but
she uses his car to do it.
Exactly. Of course, to do illicit things that cannot be said with mouth.
Yeah, but he won't report it because he's looking at how he's going to earn.
He said he's being paid handsomely. And when he said the area that he drops her, he knows where she stays. Imagine if this guy is a terrible, he can kidnap her, he can, demand for ransom, so many things. I just don't know.
It has become a cesspool, whether we like it or not. And then children are growing up on their own. You have to be intentional as a parent, but then intentional to what extent?
You two are trying to chase the hustle that will pay the school fees that will.
And so you're praying, and that that some of these families that every morning you have morning devotion, you pray. It doesn't negate the fact that your child is busy doing something else under the covers. And children now have mastered those cracks and the lacunas. And they know how to comport themselves in a way that this is how my parents expect me to act. So and then they don't act like that. More dad, God bless you. The parents will pray for you. But when you leave there, you become this person that your parents, if you tell your parents outside, say,
not my child.
Agnes outside. Your
parents will the boys you saw at that exam center, if you told their parents, they'll probably think you are a terrible person who is trying to call their children into something
probably
wrong.
Abuse me in the process.
Abuse you, or even report yourself.
Ladies, this is a conversation that has to continue. We need to continue to shine a spotlight on it. There is danger for the young people in Nigeria currently, and it's a government problem, it's a societal problem, it's a parenting problem, and all of us will bear the consequences. We will not escape because it's not our child. We will all bear the consequences. We're going to take a quick time out now. When we come back, our Hot Topic Special Friday guest is joining us, and we get into those hot topics. Stay with us.
All right, so we have some stories to dig into on today's Hot Topic Special. But before we can dig in, we need to introduce our special guest. From the streets of Enugu to the spotlight of social media, He's loud, he's unfiltered, and he's unapologetically himself, whether you like it or not. Whether he's making you laugh or making you think. One thing is for sure, when our guest speaks, people listen. Without further ado, let's meet our guest. Ta-da! All right, Emmanuel Emperor, the entertainer, Chigozie. Oh, Chuku Goziegi. How are you doing in this Nigeria of today? Relax, my brother. You were telling me what? That is not a Nugu song.
Imo State. I'm from
It's
Imo State.
Imo State. It's not the same thing. What do you mean? Is Cameroon the same as Akwa Ibom?
Not really.
Thank you very much.
But we call it East. We all call it East. My brother, welcome to Jasiri. Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Let's go.
Somebody will see you now, but you say you know you understand.
That is very calm.
I did tell you.
Nothing calm in his bone.
Hey, wahala.
Oh yeah, no vex. First
It's
things.
okay.
First
Remove
things.
the hat now.
First things. Don't sugarcoat how things be. How are you in the present condition of things of Nigeria of today? I love it.
Keep water drink.
Is he crying?
No, besides they cry, but I'm okay.
Okay.
People that are okay don't say I'm okay like that.
This is what you can do.
It's a good day. Somebody, well, I think the ride I was on yesterday went out. I think I told you that thing yesterday. How are you? My brother, how now? I said, I thank God. So I think it has become such a normal, I thank God. I'm surprised you didn't say I thank God today.
And then what you say, what God can do does not exist, but this time around it exists.
Waiting for it. Let's get into our first story.
All right, let's get into our first story, guys. A new development broke yesterday.
Calm down.
It's not long.
We are not rested.
No, you can't. We are not resting. So this new development broke in yesterday in the Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan saga. The federal government has now filed a 3-count criminal charge against the senator, accusing her of criminal defamation against Senate President Godswill Akpabio and former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello. Filed at the FCT High Court in Abuja, the charges stem from comments made by Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan during an interview on the 3rd of April 2025, where she alleged that Akpabio and Bello plotted to assassinate her. In a separate telephone conversation, she also allegedly made disturbing claims linking Senator Akpabio to the Inyoba murder case, suggesting organ harvesting for Akpabio's wife. A statement the government says is dangerous, defamatory, and could incite public outrage. The charges brought by the Department of Public Prosecutions on behalf of the Attorney General of the Federation accused the senator of making statements with the intent to harm reputations and to threaten national peace. And according to reports, she was absent in courts and reportedly refused service of the court papers. However, Justice Oji has ordered that all efforts be made to ensure she's served before the next hearing. Nigerians are talking about this one, and here is what they had to say.
The hunter has now become the hunted. It's about time the good people of Kogi Central can begin the process for her recall. She shouldn't be bothered one bit. It's one thing to charge someone to court. It's another thing to prove beyond reasonable doubt. In the end, it's the lawyers that are winning. Defamation doesn't necessarily work like that. Wow, this is amazing. At least she'll have to provide her evidence to the court now, because I can't wait to see those damning evidence she has against the SP, even though we all know she has none. Separate cases. She is definitely not coming back for her next term. She has forgotten she has to win primaries first. In a corporate place, it is good to apply wisdom. She will defeat them in court. Is it not Akpabio and Bello that's supposed to sue her? Why is the Nigerian government suing her on their behalf? A lot of people have this question.
Yep.
And let's take one more. This woman must realize that she's dragging Nigeria's image in the mud. Let's leave it at that. And that's one of the things I think was it the Senate President himself had said then. But there are two separate cases. Yes. She still has her case of sexual harassment, and this is not the case in which she would have to present evidence of sexual harassment. She's only going to have to present evidence of what she has claimed and what the government is saying is defamation. So it may not come in.
Brotherly, I heard you say Jesus as we're taking you through the Jesus. So please, what do you have to say about this?
No, normally.
Speak for your belly.
Normally. What I have to say is just very simple. you know, this case has been a case of where they've been dragging two matured people,
Yes.
bringing themselves out in the public, knowing that they have kids and have children. These are the things we young ones we see today, and tomorrow we're like, how did we get here? You get, before all these things started happening, they know what they've been doing. Now coming out to tell us what so if this story doesn't come out, we won't know that there's an organ harvesting that has been happening. So Nigeria is a state of dilemma whereby it's like a movie. Sometimes something needs to happen in that movie for you to know that there is there's something happening ahead. So most times it's not glaring. That's why sometimes once there is a crisis in Nigeria, you calm down, don't rush and join them. But there's something under the carpet that will spring up that you don't even know.
What we've been consistent with on the table is demanding a level of accountability and transparency. She has made these accusations. She has taken you to court. Go to court. Let her present her evidence. Now, this situation, when I was reading everything yesterday, I was like, these are very heavy and weighty accusations. They're statements. Apparently, the phone call that was alleged, this is a timeline of all the things that have happened since February 2025, when the seat reassignment occurred, that seems to have has led to everything that's happening now. But don't forget, there was a prior incident last year that some people feel was really a spark also. But these are the things that have happened so far. But the accusations she's made, she's going to have to prove them. That's what defamation means. I'm just curious as to why it's the state, the federal government, that's initiating the case. The public prosecution, I think the Department of Public Prosecution on behalf of the Attorney General of the Federation, and not the individuals involved. Maybe for the Senate President, I might understand that he's still a serving senator, he's Senate President, he's still a serving member of it. The former governor, I don't know. So I would love to hear more about why it's the state fighting these cases, because they themselves as individuals are very free to file defamation cases against her as well.
Honestly, I feel like this lady is in a landslide now, and everything is coming down. And you know, when you're in a landslide, it will take an act of God for you to be able to be rescued, really. Because imagine if you are on the mountain and it's a snow slide. The avalanche would probably just swallow you and cover you completely. These are very weighty allegations. In fact, as I was reading them, I was like, now I'm like, okay.
In your head, you're thinking, how can she prove this?
How would she prove this? Let's be honest. Because if you're saying something of this magnitude, you better be sure to back it up, because this is a lot. Organ harvesting is not something trivial.
That's what took Ekweremadu.
I just wanted to say that.
And I'm even thankful that matter happened out of Nigeria.
Because
if it didn't,
it likely would have been covered up.
We will see the light of day, or even make it to court. Because in Nigeria, part of the things that really make cases not work is the lack of evidence. Because in Nigeria, we are so quick to shout, instead of you to be gathering evidence that are tangible, easy, good to use. By the time you make all the noise, you have already revealed your hand to your opponent. They know where to guard and where to hide. But if you know something is happening, it's like an investigative journalist. You don't break your case until you have finished your investigation. But in Nigeria, we are quick to cry and shout on the rooftop, I am investigating. So everybody will not say, okay.
So this is it.
They will hide. It's just like when our military people come out and tell us, oh, Operation Snake must die. We are going to this place, of course. You are telling them that you are going to be there, so they will guard against every other thing. So we need to learn these things in Nigeria. And if she's alleging these things truly, honestly, Madam Natasha, I can only be on the side of prayer at this point.
No, on the side of truth.
I will be praying that this does not swallow her completely. That she better know what she's putting, what she's accusing, and adducing evidence like that without backup.
It just doesn't make, for me, it doesn't make sense at all. Logical or non-logical, it doesn't make sense that you would come out and say these heavy things, and you say, and then you don't have
a very strong allegations.
You don't have a backbone, or you don't have a
backing. You don't have
exactly.
So let me tell you,
she's enlightened, and then she's a lawyer.
Well, you know there's something they say, when a woman brings her evidence forward, the whole world wants to hear her. But take the case, if he's a man, it will take time. Now, Akpabio is doing it with his own way. He's doing it from sense that he's a Senate President and he's a man. Now, nobody's listening to Akpabio. We're only listening more to Natasha. Check it very well. I'm a man. Nobody's listening to Akpabio and they're listening to Natasha. But Akpabio too has some points. But just that when power meets some things, they're using power to do so many things. And when power crushes some levels, you will not be able to get the actual results. Yeah. If Akpabio would have done this, like Lolo said, keep your evidence silent. And I said it earlier, we don't just rush to just...
Yeah, when something happens, yes.
Watch out, when things happen in Nigeria like this, there's
always background. There's something else going on that has been happening.
I said it earlier. So that's why, but for Natasha, if she claims she has a whole lot, let her come outside. Like my Lolo said, our prayers are with her.
Yeah. So, I remember the day she landed in Kogi, people were shouting, she was descending in helicopter, it felt like a movie and all that. But when she started speaking and the allegations around assassination that I know that I turned and I can't remember who was, I said, I hope she has evidence. And I hope her evidence is not people who told her that he said, or people that said they were there and 81 call and their ears heard it. Because there are too many people who have probably been playing both sides of the divide in this situation. Someone carrying gist and saying, do you know what Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan told me today? I was somewhere and the man said that Senate President Akpabio was saying this about her. I bet you there's too much of that in this case. Yeah. A lot of it. And now it's on the table.
But you know, hearsay is not admissible.
Hearsay does not hold up in court, and I hope hearsay was not what she used to make her statement.
And I believe that she's very enlightened. And for someone that is the eye of the storm, Catherine, if you're in the middle of a tornado and hurricane, it would be the wrongest time to remove your jacket. Yeah. You will know that the wind is going to carry you. There must be some kind of safety net somewhere. Before, even if you want to bury yourself.
Efra is not convinced. He is not. Why are you not convinced?
Even if you want to bury yourself.
You know when they say in Nigeria, you have to, first of all, remove the log of wood.
Speck of wood from your eye.
That's Nigeria's and Natasha's case. Like a movie, like you said. Even if you have evidence, she was descending down from helicopter. On that particular one, how did she know that they are going to block the road? Like you said, evidence is not them say, or I heard this person is like, let me not mention name. Go and learn.
You go and learn.
The hard way.
Okay, so this is definitely going to develop. The case has been adjourned, and now it's the next level in this Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan saga that will continue to follow it. Before we go for a break, Emperor, I want to put you on the spot. How do you feel about voting? Let me not ask you if you vote. Did you vote in 2023?
I did.
You did? Okay. All right, let's leave it at that. You'll find out why we're asking this question when we come back from the break. Stay with us. Now, earlier this week, we looked at the bill by the House of Representatives that would make voting mandatory for citizens aged 18 and above. Failure to comply, should this bill be passed into law, will involve a jail term of 6 months. Emperor, did you hear me? If you don't vote, you go to jail for 6 months. And a fine of 100,000 naira, or even both, depending on how the judge feels when you get in front of them. Now, if you missed this conversation, you can visit our YouTube page because we had it earlier this week and we are at New Central TV and check it out. So, just what exactly do Nigerians have to say about this bill? This is Justice on the Street.
Voting is a civic responsibility, but it shouldn't come with, it's not something that should be of compulsion.
I think it's a free will thing. I don't think anybody should go to jail for not voting. If you feel the system is credible enough, you know, and you trust the system to cast your vote, then you can do it. There's nothing wrong with doing that.
If you compare the 100,000 with the jail, for me, I will pay the bill 100,000 rather than going to jail.
Since serving God is an optional, whether you serve God or not, nobody can penalize you. Voting should be optional.
When we bring such laws, people, it just even worsens things because people already feel that that the government may not have their best interest at heart. So doing that just makes things worse.
It can change things, though. It will cause more corruption.
It will bring more drama because Nigeria now is not coordinated.
It's going to cause commotion. Can't bring any change because you cannot force people against their wish. No.
There's a need to improve voter education so that when the issue of nullified, invalid votes and all those things will not will be reduced to the barest minimum. And then people will be encouraged to come out to vote. I believe votes count.
It doesn't count, my dear.
It doesn't count. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. Because it's about that they impose on people, on masses.
The last election, I did vote.
The last election I voted.
I vote every now and then.
In my center, in Ogun State, there was no issues. It went smoothly. There was no... a lot of people didn't come out to vote, so there was no issues.
In my area, it was calm. So there was no any chaos or any fighting, but it was calm in my area.
My experience was ugly one. The place I wanted to vote, they denied me voting there. Yes. Because they were threatening to fight. I had to leave the place.
The government will make us believe in the system. You understand? They will make us believe in it. The last election, we believe is going to be free and fair. That was why the youths came out, unlike the previous times.
When you are expecting something from the politicians and they are doing contrary, you'll be compelled to sit back at home.
I just wish the government should do the right thing, as I said earlier, that they should do the right thing. They should think about the masses. They should, especially the poor, people like us.
So the people have not said anything. We ourselves have not said.
Yeah.
What was your? Why is he looking at me?
I'm waiting for the shots.
No shots. What was your voting experience in 2020?
Well. I could say on the island was okay. No, I stayed
in some places on the island.
No, not some places. I stay in Thomas Estate. So,
okay.
Yes.
So where did you vote?
Royal Garden, that's where the polling unit was.
Okay, your own polling.
Yeah.
Okay, because I stay around you. And my polling unit was in the middle of Abuja market.
Royal Garden Gate, that's where the game was.
And they almost beat Lolo.
No, I will never forget my own. I was in the core of Abuja market.
My own is that we were playing ball first because they field close to the police.
Can you see? So you went to play football.
We were voting and playing ball at the same time now.
And that's it. Shouldn't be anything that you have to create a level of anxiety and all of this around it.
Because it was the Royal Garden's estate gate. I know Royal Garden, they are top shot there. So there was enough securities. Like Lolo, I went to Abuja market now.
I didn't go to Abuja.
All you shady.
That was where my polling unit was placed. What could I have done? What could I have done? I'm a media person. That was it, because they were calling me by name. All the area boys, everybody knew. And they came outside with charms. They started beating people. They had machetes.
Now you, wait till you go.
You run.
No, but in Lagos, there are some places in Lagos that had like Shomolu now. Shomolu Bariga, those axes. Oh, Biereko voting coming.
Then what is expected? So then, looking at this bill now, why are we expected to make it mandatory?
Like
why do you want to force Nigerians to vote when experiences Nigerians have do not lend themselves to it?
Since I became an adult, I remember when I was born in Nigeria. My dad used to, I know my dad used to go for votes and he would take me along. Voting has not been something they would put a gun to your head. Since then I was small, because I saw it, my father was growing up, it was fair and fair. From my Jerome, fellow local government where I was raised, it was fair and fair. But at this my age now, where it don't reach time for me to carry my own pally go vote now, and they pull up my head. Who does that? No, now. And jail go food, everywhere go choke.
Everywhere. The lady said she'll pay the 100,000.
We do concert in the jail joint, Nigerian youths. He go choke.
Wow. Nigerian.
Well, are we even seeing our prison service? When did we talk about it last year? That even the prisons are falling, is so full to the brim.
So now you want to jail people.
The blocks,
non-violent criminal.
The blocks in the prison allegedly are not strong anymore. They've not renovated it for years. I used to go do parties for them every year. I used to go with one of my senior colleagues. So we got this Christmas party for them. I check. The walls are nowhere. When it's rainy season, it's soft.
Oh wow!
Like 100 men can pull a wall down.
No.
And check it out. You want to put allegedly non-criminals,
non-violent criminals
together inside. All of us will do concert there.
So if it's not mandatory voting, then what? One of the guys talked about young people came out because they thought it was going to be fair.
Yes.
So is there hope for 2027?
It's going to work, but trust me.
APC has said that the president is the sole candidate for 2027.
I'm not arguing, I'm not fighting. My mom will say it will fail them, my family. That's our Nigerian language now.
The only thing is that we just have to continue to look forward and do better. INEC has a lot of work to bring credibility
and trust.
If people can just believe the system. I was abroad one time when my sister said they were voting.
They went and
I swear to God Almighty. She just carried her bag and said, I'm coming. And came back. I said, have you voted? He said, yes. He said, just go to the local government.
They don't, it's not a public holiday.
UK,
if our voting can be like, as I'm voting, it's counting like this.
Yeah. You won't have to make it happen.
Africa does their own. You're voting, it's counting. Not the way you vote finish in the morning. Nabali, I got no more. Abuja, 2 a.m. They will not elect the
But you know that is something. Imagine if there's a counter in front of all the boxes
and it's in
that you can't rig it. Once you
time.
vote, it just says one.
No, not that. Let's not do that because people will know who voted what. Let's say put something in front of the polling unit.
That's what they were doing before now.
We haven't arrived there yet.
Why have we not in 2025? How have we not arrived there?
You see, I was going to ask him something about what he thinks the youth. What do you think the youth? How do you think the youth is approaching elections? Politics, elections?
Approaching 2027.
From my own experience, I think, because I'm preparing for something else.
Yeah.
I've been hearing from guys. Nobody's talking about this election. Yeah. Unlike before, we know when the election is coming like this, everybody's getting prepared. Yeah. The election is in 2 years' time. You think the election is happening tomorrow. Yeah. Because of the ginger, because preparation, every youth is join our party, join our party. You see it there. But these days, nobody
wants to talk about it.
No, but these days now, we might be like this now. We want to see any screwing of any party thing, any swipe away. Nobody wants to talk about it. Even no matter the discussion, nobody wants to discuss about it.
So is that because of disappointment, disillusionment? Why is that?
Because of the disappointment they got.
Yeah. No, wait, okay, hold on. Let me classify that disappointment. If your candidate doesn't win, it's one thing. So is it a disappointment in the candidate not winning, or in the process that brought any other winner?
I spoke in Igbo right now. I don't think you understand what I just spoke.
No, none of us. She did. She laughed. No, I laughed because no.
It sounded nice. I'm catching as you're looking at Emperor's mouth.
So translate.
Abuja, amateur election no toto. I go n'abalị. Bubata 2 a.m. single the winner.
Oh my God! Please translate.
Meaning after voting in the morning,
you will now wait till
midnight.
Count.
They will not count 2 a.m. They will not post and say when we are sleeping. We wake up in the morning and say we have seen the winner. We voted in the morning. They counted in the night. Gave us.
So most polling units never get 100% attendance for those things.
Yeah. So like it's a comedy of sorts for Nigerians. Have just taken it that these people are using our heads, so there's no need. That's the general feeling.
Do you see the massive people that came out in this election? I told you in Aja does not. Let me say, Aja does not really come out for something. Yeah. But they came out in mass. Aja came out.
Do you think that can happen again for 2000?
It will take time. It will take time. I know.
We only have 2 years. In fact, we have less than 2 years, actually.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying this? When people come out with their mindset to do something, it works fine. Yeah. You get these people hope. Yeah. They have these chances. They have this rest of mind, assurance that this is going to work. Yeah. All of a sudden, you cut their hope short. And you tell me to come back again. No.
So I think there has to be a realistic conversation around the hope is gone, or the hope is lost because your candidate didn't win, or the hope is lost because you didn't see a fair process. Because if a candidate that is not yours wins, there's a place in which when you know the process is free and fair, you make peace.
We need to go on a break, honestly.
We have to go on a break. Sorry. Let's go.
All right. We need to go on a break. I was looking for my...
You said it. Don't worry.
We'll go on a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you've missed some very interesting conversation. But of course, you can catch all our episodes on our YouTube channel. Just find News Central TV. That's it. On period. Now, I need to warn everyone that the video accompanying the next story will be hard to watch. Earlier this week, an ex-user by the name Chooks posted a video that I watched and I honestly haven't recovered from. In the first video, a man is seen beating his wife like she was his enemy from the village. activist Harrison Gwamnishu released a video reacting to the assault and calling for justice for the wife, demanding that this man be arrested and prosecuted immediately. According to Gwamnishu, some persons who knew her reached out to him asking him to help. In his words, when you tell most of these women to leave this marriage, they feel like you're trying to separate them from their loves. But when it gets to this point, flee. We're watching the video now and I'm using every power in me not to watch to the side because it is so harrowing to watch.
And we apologize. We should have let you know that this was going to be disturbing to watch. It came on before it was supposed to. But it's a very disturbing video. But there's a point I want us to play. It's just very few seconds and then we'll talk. So the reason I wanted to play that video is you heard the children in the background. Now, activist Gwamnishu posted an update after the video went viral and was widely condemned. He shared that the man had been arrested at his shop and was in the custody of NAPTIP, Nigeria, and the woman is currently undergoing rehabilitation. He thanked the Minister of Women Affairs for stepping in, as well as NAPTIP. Now, NAPTIP also posted about the situation and mentioned that the woman was a mother of 3, and her children, who you could hear, were present while the beating was going on. They can be heard screaming and pleading with him not to kill their mother. The DG of NAPTIP, Binta Adamu Bello, condemned the action of the man, assuring that the matter will be thoroughly investigated and treated in line with the provisions of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2025. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time, so the reactions can scroll, but I really need Emperor to get into this. Friday last week was International Day of the Boy Child. We've had conversations, many conversations here on Jasiri, about the issues that men face. Even when we had a mental health conversation earlier this week, we also spoke about the mental health pressures. They're slightly different from men. We had Senator also join us, and he spoke about the issues that men face. So we're not a show that only focuses on what women face. We talk to the men as well. We talk about the issues that they face. As a man, watching that video, what's going through your head?
Lord, should I talk? First of all, I condemn that habit a lot. I condemn that habit because I must say this, and I apologize. I will never, ever, if that man wants to be my father, I will kill him. Because watching it alone, I'm not okay. First of all, the boy child has a lot of training to do by their father.
Yes. We've talked about absent fathers.
Yes.
By their father. The boy child, not even the mother. The mothers twist a lot of things to their sons. But the boy child need a father upbringing.
Father figure,
lecturing him, letting him know how life is.
Yes.
Now, for that matter that happened, that man beating his wife, first of all, any man that lays his hand on a woman is an animal. I don't even know the word to condemn to
Yeah, but you know, we've seen one of the reactions, someone is saying, oh, we judge
we don't know what she did to cause it, what happened before.
But it's not to that extent of using a tennis bat. That's a wood.
Yeah.
Hitting on the head.
That's on the shoulders, 2 sides. I know most times men don't talk. The only thing men, once it gets to this level,
they lash out.
Once it gets to this place, 2 things happens to men. Once it gets to this place, and most time women, we say this, when your man is on this angry mood, you don't just stay around him, give him peace. That is my own rule. I like to go out, I like to walk, take a walk it out. A pastor said something, said, no matter how difficult it is, you have an issue with your woman, give them space, because when you go out, you cool off. You
let things diffuse. But you know what, on this issue, because we spoke about it when Dr. May was here, women have outlets. We are allowed to be emotional. But you're talking about here for men, because many of them don't know how to process and handle those emotions. Women get angry too, but you don't see the majority. I'm not saying every woman is okay.
In every 10 men, it's only 4 that can handle anger.
And it should not be.
It should not be.
It should not be.
Because the true upbringing matters a lot.
Yeah.
Even those ones that have money,
Okay.
even the rich ones too, check their sons.
Okay, and
They are the worst.
okay. So let's say you lost your father at an early age. Is that enough reason for a man to become a beast?
No, that's
So you know, even if you weren't taught that, can't you
Teach
on your
yourself.
own,
That's
teach
why I
yourself?
said in 10 men today, it's only 4 that can really handle their anger fully well.
So what do we
The remaining
do?
5, inside the 5, you bring out 3
That are weary.
that then the remaining 3 are just one leg in, one leg out, but they can balance it. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Everybody has anger issue today.
Yes.
1, because of issues in the country. 2, because of problems. 3, I had a beautiful daughter. I lost my late wife during childbirth. May I so rest in peace. I know what I went through that process. That's why I asked her, should I speak? Yeah, I went through a lot of that process. Not even from me, from angles left and right. But today, if not for, like I said, you that have God in you, one with Christ, is majority God. If you have God in you alone, he helps you dwell down.
Yeah.
That's why I keep on telling my youth, my friends, Baba, no matter how you be, celebrity will be, anybody will be, as a guy will be, Baba, if you drink, you smoke, do anything they do, enjoy your life, but still have the fear of God inside you.
Yeah. As a man.
I think all men need to conquer 3 things: lust, anger, and temptation.
Anger is the worst. You see, when a man is angry, men anger, you can't define a man's anger. That's the point. You can never define a man's anger. But a woman's anger can just, some women can just small transfer.
So some men
small transfer.
What is that?
Everything will calm
The
down.
transfer cannot be small.
But the thing is that we have been saying a lot about men being in tune with their vulnerability. A lot of men need to know that they need help themselves. You know, a lot of people in this Africa, I have met a lot of men that just don't think they have problems.
Yeah.
They don't think they have challenges.
Yeah.
I have dated a man, I said, you need therapy. What's going on is not anybody's problem. It is your internal problem that you need to deal with. So they don't see it like
they were arguing
they have a problem, like anger is a problem for them. No, you are expected to comport. Just like you say, oh, I'm angry, move out. Give me space. Allow me to enjoy my anger.
Yeah.
But you, make sure you're not within my arm's length. How about if it's a situation where you can't take yourself out?
Yeah.
There has to be a regulator in every one of us.
When you can't take yourself out, and that's you're in that room of where the space where that person is. Sometimes women are allowed to just give the person, let him be on his corner. Sometimes some men want to go to the balcony and stay.
Okay.
It's something is in a man's gene.
Well, whether it's in your genes or not, he has to find a way to
if you cannot, that's what I'm saying. If you cannot go out, I'll go to the balcony. There's no balcony. I'll just go to the corner of the house and just relax.
So the woman should respect that.
Yes,
So
once a man just calm down like this. Once a man just calm down and see, men are built like once I just calm, just give myself 5 minutes. There's no. If you keep talking, you keep triggering.
See, we need to pick up this conversation because the ladies are not in it. Neither am I. But it's not for today because we have to go.
Yeah.
From politics to pop culture, we got you into some of the week's biggest stories. And that's what Hot Topics on Just Theory is all about. So I want to say a very big thank you to the Emperor for joining us.
Thank you.
We're going to have him back because I think you struck a nerve.
Yes.
You've struck a nerve on this issue. And we'll keep the conversations going. So don't forget to join us because this has been Just Theory, where bold meets necessary. Until next time, stay curious. We'll see you on Monday.
Bye.
Hey, she's going on vacation. That's why